Jesus was talking about that somebody had lost something. You see there, he was telling you that the man had lost his sheep and the woman had lost her piece of silver. The object is they both lost something. And if you will go to Matthew 16 and 19, and the first part says, and I will give unto thee the keys of the kingdom of heaven. You see, my topic today is going to be, don't lose your keys. Don't lose your keys. Look at your neighbor and say, neighbor, don't lose your keys. Well, I went to Mr. Webster and I wanted to find out, what did the word lose mean? Lose means you fail to keep, sustain, or maintain. It means it's no longer in your possession. The word keys meant an instrument used to gain entrance or possession of, used to unlock. First, I want to talk about losing keys on the natural side. I don't know how many of you have ever lost your house key or your car key before. You see, it's something when you lose your keys, you don't realize you lost them or misplaced them until you need them. You see, if you don't need your house key, your car key, you don't really pay no attention to them. But then when you find out you want to go somewhere, or you get home and find out that you don't have the keys to your house, you see, all of a sudden then a little panic set in because now you're wondering, where are my keys? You see, I don't care what you have inside your house and how beautiful your house is and how much your house costs. And I know it's your house, but if you lose your keys, everything that you have a right to in your house is in there and you're still on the outside. You see, I could talk about it because a few weeks ago I went out and I washed my car and I said, well, I'm going to go and get my wife's car from work and I'm going to wash her car. I went up there to Walmart and I gave her my car and I took her car and I have just her key to her car. And I had my keys which had my house key on it. So I gave her my keys and the Spirit said, get your house key off. And I said, nah, I ain't going to need it. Somebody be at home to let me in when I get there. Well, I went in and washed the car, and I said, well, I might as well go work out while I'm sweating already. So I went and I worked out, and I came home, and I want you to know, when I got inside of a car, you know, sometimes you say, I smell something, and you go like this, and you know that it's you. Well, I want you to know, after washing 2 cars and working out, I ain't even have to do that. I knew it was me. But I said in my mind on the way home, I'm going home and I'm going to get me a nice glass of cold water and I'm going to jump in that nice hot shower and I'm going to stay there for about 30 minutes and let the water run off and get all this funk smell off me. But you know, I got home and I looked around and realized everybody's car was gone, and I realized, well, maybe somebody at home knowing everybody gone if the car is gone. So I rung the doorbell and I knocked on the door and nobody answered. I went around the back of the house and I tried to hope somebody left a back door open, and all the back doors are locked. So I said, let me try the windows. And I went to go in the windows and lifting them up. And on the side of my house, it's by the street. And I went there and lifting up. And I thought about that. I said, if the police come right now, they think I'm trying to break into my own house. You see, the reason I couldn't get inside my house and enjoy my hot shower and my tall glass of water was because I had left my keys. You see, when I left them, it wasn't important to me, but when I got home and tried to get in, it was important because then I didn't have my keys. I had to wait for someone to let me inside of my own house. I had to wait for somebody to let me inside of a place that I had a right to be at. But because I didn't have my keys, I could not get into my house. Now, you see, I talked about the natural side of losing your keys. And I'm looking around and I know I'm not the only person who has ever lost a key or misplaced it and didn't have it when I needed it. You know the feeling that you had and how bad it feels at that time. Well, but now I'm going to break it down on the spiritual side. You see, a lot of folks, we're wondering why there's a lot of things we're going through and why we're going through so much and how come things are not working out for us. And I want you to know, Lord, I've been praying, but you hadn't answered. But I want you to know your prayers are at the doorstep of heaven. You see, they couldn't get inside heaven. They got to wait for somebody to open the door and bring it inside because why? You've lost your keys. You see, when you've lost your keys, you can cry Jesus and Lord all you want to. Your prayer never reaches God. Why? Because you don't have a right at that time to be in heaven. You see, Jesus said, I'm going to give you the keys to heaven. You see, he said, I'm going to give you permission and authority that any time you decide you want to come into heaven, you're allowed to come inside. You see, the writer of Hebrews said, let us come boldly to the throne of grace. The only way to get to the throne of grace is if you are allowed to come into heaven. You see, because if you are allowed to do that, then you can come before God. I don't care what your petition is and what you're going through and what you need the Lord for. When you're allowed to go to heaven, you can go to God and say, Lord, this is what I need. You can say, Lord, you know what's going on with me. But see, when you allow so many things in this world to smother out and put it on top of God, after a while, you think you've got your keys. But when you get there and you need to get into heaven, you realize, I don't have my keys. I don't care how much your blessing is sitting in heaven waiting on you. You cannot get inside to receive it. You see, we sit around here and we figure, well, I want to go. I got school and I got education that comes before God. I want you to know there's nothing wrong with education. And before you say it all, he's saying that because he don't have it. I have a master's degree. But I want you to know, I realize that master's degree does not come before my God. I don't care how much money we have. I want you to know your money cannot come before your God. Because there's times when you get in a situation, your money and your education just can't get you out of. And if you're not allowed to get into heaven and come before God, you've lost all your help. You see, they talked about the man that lost his sheep and the woman that lost her coin. But I want you to know that some of us, we've lost our keys. And I want you to know the way that you get your keys back is you got to go back where you lost them at. You see, he said in Revelations, come back, he said, come back to your first love.